These walls in Guatemala City hide a chilling secret. A psychiatric institution which campaigners describe as the worst and most dangerous in the world.
These people are not treated as human beings. They are being locked up for the crime of having a disability. No more, no less.
We go undercover to expose the hidden shame of the Federico Mora Psychiatric Hospital.
It's 11:30 in the morning, and as you approach the patients lying in the bed, there's an overwhelming stench of urine and body odour.
Neglect and misery plague these wards, and the hospital's director admits to even more shocking mistreatment of patients.
¿Hay otros problemas con las guardias?
Sí, abusos, agresiones. Hay abuso sexual.
Abuse confirmed in harrowing testimony by former patients.
I was sedated, and what happened that night is that a male nurse came in and raped me.
Guatemala in Central America, well known for its stunning scenery, but also for its crime and corruption. The capital is one of the most violent cities in the world. The country has become a playground for the region's drug cartels. On average, there are 20 murders a day. Most are never investigated. There are private armed security guards on every street corner, guarding communities, restaurants, even sweet shops. This is a country, some experts say, is on the verge of becoming a failed state. So it's hardly surprising that the vulnerable, the disabled, the mentally ill are right at the bottom of the pile here. The Federico Mora Psychiatric Hospital is in a so-called red zone, one of the most violent areas of Guatemala City. What goes on inside its walls is a closely guarded secret.
And there's a significant death rate in this facility.
Eric Rosenthal travels the world documenting failing institutions and campaigning for change. After hearing disturbing rumors about Federico Mora, his American campaign group, Disability Rights International, gained limited access in late 2011.
You see people just lying on the concrete. They're so sedated, they can barely move. People lying in their own filth. I wasn't sure how much access I was going to have to video, so you'll notice that I'm kind of moving the camera around rather quickly to try to scan as much as I can.
Before anyone stops you.
Before anyone stopped us. But just the people.
In 2012, the charity took their evidence to the Inter-American Commission, an organization that polices human rights in its member states, Guatemala among them. Immediate action was ordered to make improvements to save lives. But on a restricted visit later that year, DRI investigators saw no evidence of change. You filmed this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to be filming the same kind of neglect if we get inside?
It is heartbreaking to see. I mean, given the international intervention, these problems should have been fixed overnight. But I am sorry to say that my expectation is you're going to see exactly what we've seen.
Let's just give it a test. Journalists are not welcome in the institution, so we plan to go undercover as a charity team considering a donation. Our mission, to see whether they've made the improvements demanded 2 years ago. Ah, there we go. My producer and I will be filming with secret cameras. No, we can't take these in with us, these monitors, so a lot of it is guesswork. As a cover story, we set up a fictitious charity, the Challenge Trust, before contacting the director of the hospital. So we're on our way to meet the director. He's agreed to see us today. We've got no idea how much access we've got to the institution, what we're going to see, what we're going to be able to film. What we do know is he is very nervous of foreign visitors. Ahead, the towering walls and tight security of the secretive institution. It's a critical moment as our cover story is put to the test.
Son el grupo Challenge Trust.
We're in, and with our translator, who's also a doctor, we meet the hospital's director, Romeo Minera.
Chris, hi.
He appears in no rush to take us further inside.
El hospital en este momento está en una situación un poco compleja.
With a legal case still active, he's suspicious we may be associated with Disability Rights International.
Promovida por disability.
¿Cómo se llama?
Disability rights.
So, is this organisation helping them, or I don't understand?
No.
We play ignorant, and it works. Our tour begins, and we're taken to the recreational area. Nothing appears to have changed, despite DRI's legal case. Patients are lying on the ground. Almost all appear heavily sedated. There are no care staff in sight, but guards are everywhere. Next, we're taken to one of the 7 hospital wards. This one is for the most serious male cases. It's like entering a hell on earth. The nurses we speak to tell us there are almost 70 patients on the ward, looked after by just 2 or 3 staff. There seems to be no activity or stimulation. The patients crave attention.
You coming with me? You're not allowed outside, are you?
Es que se mojan allá afuera.
You want to come with me? You can't go outside. He just wants a hug. He's very loving.
Vamos. Que ellos se quitan la ropa.
While our translator talks to the director, we slip away. The beds are in a terrible state, and there are pools of urine on mattresses.
It's 11:30 in the morning, and every room like this has patients sleeping. They've all been sedated. The staff say it's the only way they can control the huge number of patients here. And as you approach the patients lying in the bed, there's an overwhelming stench of urine and body odour. I'm actually quite overwhelmed. He's covered in his own faeces, and there's no dignity.
In response to our investigation, the Guatemalan government says nurses are trained to attend to the needs of patients, keeping them clean and dressed. And it says the hospital only uses the minimum doses of sedatives recommended by the World Health Organization. Federico Mora is Guatemala's only state-run residential psychiatric facility. It houses 340 patients with a wide range of issues from mental illness to disabilities and learning difficulties. Among them, totally unseparated are more than 50 violent, disturbed criminals, watched over by armed guards. This man is a murderer.
I'm here because the floor has been here right now.
His mental health will be assessed over several months to see if he can be returned to prison. It's a toxic mix of patients, and sedation isn't the only form of restraint used by overwhelmed care staff. Any resident who becomes difficult can face being locked in a completely bare isolation room.
Este paciente es sumamente agresivo. Mató a su mamá. Es epiléptico. Entonces, en una crisis, la mató.
You can tell he's been urinating in the isolation room. Does he ever get to come out?
Avisan y salen los que pueden y los que no hacen ahí, después se limpia.
Okay, so sometimes if they need to go to the loo, they try and take them out, but if not, they go in there and they try and clean it.
I can tell that you're not a fan of the isolation rooms, are you?
¿Qué te parece usted estos cuartos?
No me parece lo mejor.
He doesn't think it's the best.
El paciente se subió, no aquí, sino en otro servicio. Se ahorcó.
The Guatemalan government says patients are held in isolation to protect patients and staff, never for more than 2 hours at a time, and that they are constantly monitored. Oddly enough, the government also says no one was being held in isolation during our visit. When DRI visited the hospital 2 years ago, they were particularly concerned about isolation rooms.
This man is literally trying to climb out of that isolation cell. He was up on the wall like that, desperately to try to get out. And people were locked in those for hours or days at a time.
And the charity also gathered evidence of patients being restrained in other ways.
She's showing how she was tied to these concrete blocks. And in the next shot, we're going to see the restraints hanging from the wall where she was tied.
However disturbing these practices, the woman revealed even more shocking mistreatment.
She said on her very first day, she was sexually abused upon admission.
She's telling you.
I walked up to her and she
sexually
immediately,
abused?
yes. It's one layer more horrific than any place I've seen before.
During our visit to the hospital, the director makes an astonishing admission. Still believing we're from a charity, he openly confirms that abuse takes place in his hospital.
¿Hay otros problemas con guardias?
Sí, abusos, agresiones.
Sí, ¿qué tipo de abusos?
Hay abuso sexual, hay abuso de utilizar a los pacientes para burlarse de ellos. Entonces hay áreas muy grandes donde puede pasar cualquier cosa.
So you don't have much jurisdiction over the guards, over the security?
Nosotros no.
It's not, so
Son de otro ministerio de gobernación y nosotros no tenemos.
Hello.
For many patients, being committed to the hospital can be a life sentence, and often they completely lose touch with their families.
Do they come here to visit your mother and father?
No, nothing. Nobody there.
Nobody.
The director admits most patients will die here.
La gente que viene aquí no es mejor. Los patients who come here,
La mayoría no.
the most.
Our few hours in the hospital are disturbing enough. The idea of a lifetime here is unthinkable. We leave with compelling evidence that little has changed since urgent action was ordered by the Inter-American Commission 2 years ago. I don't think what we have filmed will ever really tell the true story. It doesn't really sum up the overwhelming misery, darkness, stench, neglect, horror of what we found in building after building. It was like watching The Walking Dead. You can't call that place a hospital. But our investigation is far from over. A former patient has agreed to speak to us on condition she remains anonymous. Her testimony contradicts the director's assertion that abuse is perpetrated only by police guards. She claims she was sexually abused by those who were supposed to be caring for her. She was just 17 at the time.
One day while I was sleeping, a male nurse came in, and since I was sedated, I wasn't aware of it. I didn't realise until the next day that I had lost my innocence. I was bleeding down my legs. So I realised that what had happened that night is that a male nurse had come in and raped me. It happened after just 3 days of being there.
She spent just 2 weeks at the hospital. Her cries for help led to her family removing her. Eric Rosenthal's campaign group have decided to launch a further legal bid to shut down the hospital, and they're heading across Guatemala to meet a key witness. Ricardo is another former patient who now lives with relatives near the Pacific coast, tending his animals. Ricardo wants to testify at DRI's legal hearing without hiding his identity. It's a courageous move in a country notorious for corruption and intimidation of witnesses.
Good to see you. It's important to know that you are taking a real risk because the people who work in the hospital might be very angry.
Yes, I agree to use my name openly. I agree. I'm not afraid of anything because I know what I saw. I know what I lived through. The male nurses, how they treated the patients, how they raped the boys and the girls.
Ricardo has been promised witness protection. His testimony could be vital. He says the abuse at the hospital was widespread.
They took advantage of them when they were sedated, after the doctors had given them their medicine. So the female patients were not in their right mind, and they took advantage of that. I mean the police officers, the patients and the male nurses of the hospital. And some doctors too. They put the prettiest girls aside for them at night. There were others that did it outside of the ward, in the green area. Unbelievable. I was scared. I couldn't believe this.
And Ricardo says he was also a victim.
Yes. There was one time that a police officer raped me. A police officer from the criminal ward raped me. He forced me to do things I didn't want to do.
Ricardo spent 3 years battling to be released from Federico Mora, claiming he was wrongly diagnosed with schizophrenia.
They locked me in by force. It was a living nightmare. I didn't belong in that place, in that world.
The government acknowledges that, like Ricardo, 3/4 of the hospital's patients don't need to be there and could live in the community. It told us it's trying to find homes for some of the patients elsewhere. Back in the capital, I visit a prominent Guatemalan disability campaigner, Sylvia Kwan. Sylvia, hi, how are you? Sylvia, who's blind, believes Guatemala is guilty of an outdated attitude to disability and mental illness.
There's a lot of stigma around mentally disabled persons, and a lot of rejection comes from first their families. They're abandoned, most of them. So it's the public authorities that find these people wandering around on the streets, naked or begging for food. They're sent into this hospital, but basically they're treated as human trash.
50 miles south, near the rural town of Santa Rosa, Sylvia takes Eric and me to a local church project, showing a very different way of dealing with people with mental illnesses and learning difficulties. Most live with their families in the community, coming to the project to learn a variety of practical skills. Here, they're helping grow their own brand of coffee.
The good things they have here is they have a bunch of friends. Yeah. And even when they go to the vacations, they don't want to go home. They want to stay here.
So is there a chance that that he may get a job in the community as well?
Yeah.
And get employment?
Yeah.
So, Chocolate, what job do you want?
¿Qué trabajo te gustaría hacer?
El trabajo que hay, sacarlo.
What I do.
Coffee. So what are your first impressions of this facility?
It's a fabulous place. It's a fabulous place. This shows that people can live, decent, humane lives. These people are together, they're happy, they have friends. Almost every single one lives with their family, and they go from here to jobs in the community. So this gives them hope that, it's not a dead end. I mean, this is life.
While not appropriate for the most disturbed patients at Federico Mora, Sylvia believes the majority could be in community-based projects like this, and at no greater cost. Yet there are no equivalent government schemes anywhere in Guatemala.
I think they just don't have an idea how easy it can actually be to place the people who are as patients in the hospital in a place like this.
But change will not come easily to Federico Mora. Few are prepared to speak out in a country where we're told assassinations cost just $12. That fear and intimidation is evident as 6 of the hospital care staff come forward agreeing to talk to us, but on condition they are interviewed together and not identified.
We don't have the medication we need to treat patients. It is dirty, there are rats and cockroaches.
One of the most shocking things is that there is no access for patients to basic human rights, even drinking water.
They claim they witness sexual abuse every day.
I think I speak for all when I say the abuses committed in the hospital by guards are common knowledge.
Working at the hospital is terrifying.
The government shouldn't have psychiatric patients who are prisoners along with their guards at the hospital. It's dangerous, not just for the patients, but for us too.
Have any of you tried to challenge the staff and say, why are you doing this?
That's why we're here. We've spoken out, but there hasn't been an answer.
You've all seen some pretty horrific stuff. I can tell.
All 6 of the care staff are in tears.
You're going to get me going in a minute.
Back in Britain, we show the footage we've gathered to a leading human rights lawyer.
I'm looking at the way the patients firstly are dressed. Some of them are half naked. There's no actual level of interaction or communication. They almost look comatose. I mean, this is an abomination. And I'm looking here, for instance, at a man lying in his bed with feces around him. Speechless to see that. Here is an individual who is at his most vulnerable.
Is it typical of what you've come across before in your work as a human rights lawyer?
As a human rights lawyer, I've seen some pretty appalling examples of humanity and so-called care of humanity, but this is probably the worst I've seen.
The Guatemalan government told the BBC it's begun the process of improving mental health care across the country. It defends conditions in the hospital, saying 80 maintenance staff ensure the hospital is kept clean. It also says it started building a wall to separate prisoners from other patients. And while it says it's received no reports of sexual abuse or rape, it's ordered an internal investigation. Campaigners say they've heard all this before in 2012. And for former patients of Federico Mora, it's too little, too late.
What we all want is for the hospital to be shut down. They are committing atrocities against human lives.
You can never forget that experience. You store it in your mind.
Do you worry for the patients that are still there?
Yes. I want to ask you, please, if you can do something for them. Help them be safer so they can't be mistreated anymore.